Welcome to another CEO Wisdom Pod. We have Bradley T. Morris with us. Today's Kai Ball Maker, Kai Baller, that is. That's his company. We're going to talk more about this one later. He's a magic maker, creative activator. He's also a pro golfer and wrote a book. I would qualify him as a highly creative person. Done a bunch of retreats as well. Been to lots of life experiences as well. So, Bradley, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
I've been making magic on the internet for 21 years. I have proudly just been turning visions into realities again and again and again and again over the years. I have multiple branches of my different businesses. The one that you were sharing there is actually Chi-Ball, playchiball.com. So we have created and launched this game with a hand-woven wicker ball that looks like this. People have probably seen it before. There's an ancient sport called Takra Pack, which is like volleyball with your feet. We play a different version of the game with a similar style ball. And we've been sharing that game since I've been playing for 12 years, developing the rules and the culture around it, and then became very apparent that it needed to be a thing. So we launched that. I have a kids audio entertainment company called Majik Kids. We're producing the best audio stories on the planet, and we're fair pay publishing. So half the revenue we generate through our app subscriptions and book sales go to our artists. And then I've been coaching creators, entrepreneurs, startups, etc., to bring their visions to light for a long time, probably a decade and a half. I've been doing the coaching stuff.
And how did you get started in this life? You told me you were from Ontario. What's your childhood been like?
Yeah, I was kind of I was definitely class clown, not a good student. I went to college, moved out to the West Coast in 2003 for college to pursue professional golf and business management and that sort of thing. And after my second year, I realized that they were training me to get a job for the rest of my life, and I wanted freedom. And so a buddy of mine that summer, after my second year of college, started our first business. We had a t-shirt company. We sold really offensive, degrading t-shirts. We definitely would have been canceled if we were in this era. But that terrible business led me to my own massive life breakdown and breakthrough, where I wanted to devote my life to doing things that I felt really proud of. And so that set me off on a whole other trajectory in my life. I went into motivational speaking. My buddy and I launched a video on YouTube in 2007. It went viral. That led to 2 years worth of speaking tours, which I ended up going into teaching 500 different meditation workshops after the speaking tours finished, did retreats around the world. And then I produced an audio meditation library that has reached millions and millions of people through app licensing deals that I've done over the years, and generated significant chunk of passive income for me. And that led me into the business coaching world. And years back, I got really bored of the business coaching world and wanted to figure out, how do I merge my inner artist with my inner entrepreneur so that they can get along and work on projects together. And so that's when Magic Media was born, is like, how do we turn our life's work into a work of art? How do we turn a message into a movement? How do we, do work that's not just meaningful, but profitable, that makes a big impact in the world? And so that's a very brief summary of the journey that I've been on and am still on right now.
Right. And how does one go from troublemaker to having an enlightenment and trying to help the world now?
Well, I would say that I put myself in a position years ago that it was transform or die. So I chose the transformation path, and I guess I found my heart and my conscience in the process, and learned to. I was always entrepreneurial, even as a kid. I was the guy who would get home from school and I would make 14 phone calls to get a hockey game going, or to get my buddies all ready for like whatever the adventure was going to be on the weekend. And so I was always kind of coming up with ideas to make things happen, all the way from childhood all the way through. And so when I dropped out of college and became an entrepreneur for my first time, I realized, like, this is this is the path to carve my own destiny in life. This is what I can do. Not only can I do work that's really great in the world that makes a meaningful impact in people's lives, but it can pay for my dreams to come true. Hence the, playing pro golf on the Vancouver Golf Tour, and I've done some Canadian Tour events. And the island I live on, they let you walk your dog on the course, and they don't have a first tee time. And so I've played, over the last 12 years, over 3,000 rounds of golf at my home club, and then compete professionally is just, for fun, because it's fun to push the limits of what's possible, and to see how good I can get at something I love doing.
And don't you get bored after 3,000 rounds? I mean, I get bored after an 18 myself. It's like, it's too slow for my brain. How do you not get bored?
When you get really good at something, though, it's just like it's like a martial art, right? It's a path of mastery, that to be able to envision a shot and create it the next moment. It's kind of like it's a beautiful dance with nature, and you get to create your reality in these little micro ways, and it's a beautiful parallel path. I think the reason so many business people play golf is because your every single shot is a reset. You have a goal, you have to execute it, you have to get out of your own way, you have to like calm fear, calm your emotions, especially in tournament play. And it's just a beautiful practice of presence, a practice of just like enjoying the time out in nature. And I'm fortunate that my dog gets to come do that with me every day.
So she can come on the golf course while you're playing?
Yeah. My
Wow.
dog's I brought him home when he was 8 weeks old, and he's turning 10 this year. So he's put in over 2,500 rounds for sure at that course.
Are you the only guy bringing your dog on the course?
No, we got most groups that are out there have at least one dog in their group walking and
Wow.
I used to run the junior program years ago, and my previous dog was kind of like the mascot for the junior program, and so she kind of got grandfathered in. And then when she died and I got my new dog, I really wanted him to be able to come walk the course, because it was life changing. That was why I could play so many rounds of golf, because my dog needs to be walking the course, or needs to be going for walks, and why not go walk the course every day? So I ended up getting all dogs allowed on the course. For members, they have to register their dog in the pro shop and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's super cool. There's not a lot of courses that do dog friendly play.
Sometimes is there like politics at the clubhouse, like with members? I've experienced that before. Like there's old members that don't want XYZ from happening, and there's revolts happening.
There's always complainers, but we live on a pretty chill island where I am, and so people are more open and laid back here. It's definitely not, it's not a ritzy, snooty golf club. It's a beautiful course, but it's not a high-end place where people are jerks.
Right. And golf, if people don't know, it's one of the most inner mental game intensive sport, I would say. Because you need like utmost concentration, and shit can go down south pretty quickly. I would say like tennis, probably the second one. But I mean, yeah, all sports, right? Like UFC is quite intense as well on the mental side of things.
Yeah.
You've written a book about, I believe, was it like the Vancouver Cup or whatever, like an 18 hole that you've actually won back then. Tell us about the mental struggles that you went through to actually get on top of that.
So this is an unreleased novel. It's 95% done. It is not based on a true story, but it's based on real life experiences. And yeah, it's the story is called Be Golf. I'm hoping it comes out by the end of this year. Life has kind of been pretty full on, because we're working on an acquisition, selling a big piece of Magic Kids right now, which has been a lot of work and kind of diverted my focus. But the story is, it's the final 18 holes of a PGA Tour event, and essentially the main character, based on me and my caddy, are going through each chapter as a whole. It goes through every single shot, the emotional roller coaster, the ups and the downs, and then every hole has a really specific focus or presence technique that is taught through the story of the character, because the caddy is kind of his guide to support him through the roller coaster that he's on. And then there's also a flashback to different parts of the main character's life in each chapter, because he's also battling his own demons as he's stepping into his greatness, which is, essentially shedding the layers of who he was and stepping into who he always wanted to be. Which anybody that's done that, whether it's in life or business, when you level up, it is like shedding a layer of skin so you can expand into the next version of yourself. And it can be an ego death. And so the main character essentially goes through this like whole ego death during this 18-hole round of golf. And I can't share what happens in the end, but it's a beautiful story. And a lot of the backstories that take place in the book are based on real life experiences, some exaggerated, that I've been through my own personal life and my own ego deaths as I've built my business and, raised my family and taken the path that I have, which has been pretty unconventional.
Right. And yeah, being on that part of the island, being the pretty creative person, talking about ego death, have you experienced with psychedelics to get you there faster and to get these insights in your own life?
Yeah, psychedelics have been they've been an important part of my growth and development. Um, many years ago, I one year I just decided that I was going to do a monthly sit, that I would create a circle, sacred circle around myself, and I would have um, psilocybin, and I would sit in the circle for 5 hours and just like go through my own internal transformation. And the first times that I did that, it was very hard, and then it got easier and easier. And so it's probably been about at least a dozen years that it's at least every quarter I have a ceremony for myself to just like, because life is full, life is fast. I don't know about all the other men out there, but like tapping into my deeper emotions is a challenging thing. And so reserving the space for myself to go through these transformational experiences and process the things that have been unprocessed because life is so full. And being an entrepreneur and a creator kind of keeps me in my mental body a lot more, my creative body. And so to ensure that I don't bypass the emotions that need to be checked, I've just habitually been doing it at least quarterly since that year. And that's been really powerful. I don't recommend other people do it in the way that I've done it without some form of guide or support system in place. I have, accountability support systems and space holders when I do these things. But yeah, it's really transformed my life. Some of the biggest decisions I've made or ideas that I've had that have helped me to evolve my business and move in new directions have come from these ceremonies, where it's just like I compost all the shit that's in the way and allow myself to open up to new possibilities and insights that perhaps I didn't see existed before. Yeah, it's magical. It's beautiful.
Is it like meditation on steroids for you? Do you still have a meditation practice on a daily basis?
Yeah. I do breath work every day, prayer, nature. Uh, yeah, I live in a magical paradise here, back onto 20 acres of just like beautiful rainforest, and so it's very much integrated into me. I went in my early 20s, I went so deep down the rabbit hole with my meditation practice. I would practice for multiple years, several hours a day, and just went really deep into my own personal practice, which ended up being why people started asking me to teach them. And then that kind of led me on a whole thing. And it's different. I don't practice for hours a day. I can, because I've been doing it for so long, I can drop into a pretty deep and beautiful space pretty quick now. But yeah, I do all the things. I've been doing cold water plunges for since I was 17. Uh,
Wow.
and so like, even my son, he helped me crack through the ice in the lake this year on Christmas and go through the ice and do all the things. Um, I've always loved like just little performance hacks of like, how do I be better? How do I feel that internal superhero energy, um, whether it's through my work, through creative collaborations, through just like my own personal fitness. I want to be one of those really old guys who's jacked and still crushing a golf ball 300
Love
yards.
that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And tell me a bit more about the men that you lead through these retreats. What kind of problems do they come to you with usually?
Well, back in the olden days when I did a bunch of retreats around the world, and they were spiritual adventure retreats. So it was meditation, plant medicine, personal growth mixed with adrenaline experiences that would give you these real life moments where you're using the tools they were using. You'd have to use them to like stay present, stay calm, stay focused, stay in the moment, like allow yourself to open up to the new experiences. And so we did a lot of really cool things. I remember one day um, we were in Peru and we did this like 65-kilometer mountain bike journey down. We drove to the top of a mountain just below snow, and we rode our bikes for 65 kilometers down this highway. There weren't a lot of cars on it, but like you didn't have to pedal for like 3 hours. It was unbelievable. They're just like coasting. And we ended up down in the jungle. We had lunch, and then we hopped in whitewater rafts and we rafted for a bunch of kilometers as well. And at the end of the whitewater rafting, there was a lightning storm coming through, and it was unbelievable. But yeah, we did swimming with dolphins, just like all these amazing experiences that uh, bring you into a new frame of reference for your life, for the bigger picture of what you're here to do. Now I lead retreats. I've got my studio here, and so I host people for transformational business retreats. So I'll host somebody one-on-one, and we'll spend 3 days together, and we'll just like build a roadmap for what it is that they want to do in this next phase of their life. What assets do they have to leverage? A big piece of my success is leveraging my own life's work to need less. Like everybody out there on social, I've been off social for about 8 years. And I've grown Magic Media through leveraging relationships. And everybody's been fed a lie that you need thousands of followers, thousands of people on your email list. And I've created business models that you can leverage a handful of relationships and have a really thriving, successful business without the hustle, without all the complications, without having to do the never-ending content strategy. And so that's been a really beautiful thing. And stepping away and living in this island life is like, I really wanted to figure out a business model that felt more like a village. That how do you leverage relationships? How do you find that win-win sweet spot with people? And so that's where one of the big strategies that I figured out a couple years ago was around crafting and touring a signature workshop, like a 60-minute workshop that you do on other people's virtual stages, that you share a brief part of your story in relationship to the topic you're talking about, your philosophy or your school of thought. You guide your first breakthrough experience for these new people that are being introduced to you. And then the call to adventure is at the end of it, which is like, hey, if you want to continue walking up this new mountain with me, this is how we do it. Whether it's your coaching, your group program, your membership, your audio library, whatever it is. And then licensing has been a massive part of my success over the years as well. And with Majik Kids, our audio entertainment company, we've been focusing heavily for the last year on securing licensing deals. And I think we have about 45 right now in motion. And we're going to be securing a bunch more with some of the biggest audio companies in the coming month. And it's there's so many other strategies that most entrepreneurs, because they're focused on the post and hope slot machine strategy on Instagram and Facebook and X and all these things, that people are distracted and wasting an intense amount of time when they could simplify and go all in on like asset licensing and signature workshop tours, which are so much easier. You know, one of the students in my Magic Mind, which is my membership mastermind community space, she has booked 40 signature workshops this year. Last month, she delivered 2. Her email list grew by over 1,500 people. 2 hours of teaching time, probably 2 hours of administration time, 1,500 new people who are perfect alignment. They signed up for it. Probably a third of them showed up live for the workshop. And then she just keeps doing that again and again and again. And, you know, that's how I've grown my list by over 6,000 people in the last couple of years with like zero ad spend, not a whole lot of hours. Most people are spending at least 40 hours a month on social media. And when I ask them in my workshop that I do on thriving in business without social media, you know, how many you're doing 40 hours a month, how much money are you making from that? Most are making no money. They're just hoping that one day it pays off. And I remember that feeling before leaving social. Is like I was just hoping that one day my 10 years of throwing content into the void would pay off for me. And finally I'd had enough and I walked. So yeah, that's a long-winded answer for you.
Thanks for that. Yeah, but just to summarize, right? Like problems that men are facing today, would say like lack of community, loneliness, elevated stress levels, which tends to diminish testosterone. If well balanced, testosterone can be very good. And lack of connection with nature. I would say your workshops, retreats brought a potential solution to that. Now, continue on the business tangent. You mentioned that you were getting acquired. Congrats. Is it was it on purpose? The Magic Kids acquisition, and how do you make sure that this person will keep on paying fairly the artists, and how do you make sure that they're a perfect fit, basically?
Yeah, so the conversation's still in motion. We have a few companies that are interested. One of them feels really, really good after a bunch of conversations and going through we're calling it the dreaming in process right now. Um, you know, I having grown my business based on like mutually beneficial relationships and choosing to work with people that I really like and trust. Um, I'm always looking for like energetics of like, does this feel like a fit? If I look at their track record and their history, the things that I hold as values are those in alignment for with what they're doing and where do they see themselves going? You know, this a lot of it is like I'm not trying to sell myself to them or sell the thing to them. Is like I've poured my heart and soul into this. I've poured so much of my own money into what we've built here. I have friends who have invested in what we've built, and I don't just want to like throw it to the wind. And I'm not looking to sell the whole thing. I'm looking to sell, you know, a significant chunk of it. But the reason I came to the conclusion is like we need to sell is just like I got a lot on my plate, and we've built a world-class platform. We're doing some of the best audio stories on the planet. We've accumulated and licensed a massive, amazing library of kids' music, kids' meditations. We design curriculum with every single story. And it just became very clear, like I'm not the right guy to scale the company into the household name. I've brought it to a place that I'm really proud of, and we can have a solid evaluation. Um, and where my sweet spot and where my passion is like I want to run the story engine of like the creative machine that just keeps collaborating with artists and making the best audio entertainment for kids possible. And because I'm so involved in the creation of all the stories that we do at Magic Kids, it's not possible for me to be fully all in on being the CEO and scaling a company and being fully involved and all in on the creative agency side of things of like continuing to just write and produce these amazing stories. And the whole reason I got into Magic Kids was for the stories. This started as a homeschooling project for my son because we homeschool. And I thought, what a cool way to give him his education, because him and I are always making up these really fun stories. And I have a media company, and he's growing up he gets, one show a week on Fridays for screen time. We want to raise him to be an empowered creator. And it just became really clear 4 years ago when we began taking steps forward with this, that like, this is an amazing educational experience for him. A lot of the audio stories that he was listening to, they were either really well produced, but they were junk food entertainment and they had no substance and no values, no morals, or they were poorly produced and he didn't want to listen to them, or they were just like kind of, the ones that had values weren't awesome and he didn't want to listen to those ones. So we're like, well, we need to do the highly entertaining, fun for parents as well, and extremely well produced, with values, with life lessons, with morals that kids can like learn and grow with the characters and the stories. And then, having been in the online education space for a very long time, that's why we designed curriculum that go with every story so kids can integrate the lessons and themes. So long story short, we're selling because my zone of genius is in the creative agency, and we're looking to align with a partner whose zone of genius is in scaling companies into household names. And we're looking for that values alignment, that like they see the vision of what we do and they want to honor that and they want to carry the torch with us.
Right, and you do so many things. What does a day in your life look like? One, from the personal habit side of things, right? Meditation, sports, practicing golf, all of that, but also like business wise, like how do you manage your time between Cheat, Magic Kids, and Magic Media?
Yeah. So I have a course on my website called Around Scheduling Your Success. Because I do have a lot of things on the go, I themify my days. So I have specific hats that I wear on specific days. So I'm not trying to wear 10 hats. It's like I'll wear 3 hats in a day. I time block really well. So I'm really structured. Like I have days where I just don't do meetings so I can like get shit done. My days start usually 5 or 6 a.m. My first 2 to 3 hours are my family typically sleeps until about 8 o'clock. And so I either go golfing, I walk the dog, I hit the gym, do my cold swimming, do my meditation, breath work, etc. That all happens before 8 o'clock. I try to spend an hour with my family, or sometimes an hour and a half before I get to my studio over here, which is a separate part. And then I do like a 6.5 hour extremely focused workday. I usually, I start working at usually about 9:30, and I try and finish up by 4 o'clock, 3:34, depending on the day. This time of year, it's summer, it's beautiful. I might switch things around and might start working around 6 a.m. so I can get off work by like noon or 1 o'clock, and then go do some self-care, and then, take my kiddo on an adventure for 6 or 8 hours. I try and be, when my son was born, I was like, my adventure buddy's here. And that was a pretty cool feeling. And so I dedicate my afternoons and evenings to doing things with him. With Chi Ball, we play twice a week. Chi Ball is a long game for me. It's like I've been playing for 12 years and didn't need to be a business, but everywhere and every time I play, strangers would come up and want to play. It's the most magnetic thing I've ever launched in all my career. And so it took a long time to source balls. A buddy of mine sold his web company, and he was one of my men's group guys. I started men's group years ago, and he's a really brilliant entrepreneur and media creator. And I pitched him for like 4 years, being like, hey, you want to partner with me on this thing? You want to partner with me? And so finally he got back from a trip. He spent a year in Japan with his family last year. He got back and he wasn't sure what his next step was going to be. I was like, hey, Chiba, what do you think, buddy? We could do this thing. So he finally said yes. We partnered up. Unfortunately, we didn't launch until late last September, which is like totally going into winter mode in Canada. But we've sold Sold a lot of balls, all just in person. We do flash mobs, so we'll do these like flash mob mini festivals. We've got a big one in Vancouver tomorrow, on Friday this week at Kits Beach, depending on when this is aired. But yeah, it's just like we're making sales through in-person stuff. We won a helicopter commercial shoot this Thursday tomorrow, so we're going up a mountain in a helicopter to shoot like a really epic cinematic commercial for Chi-Ball tomorrow. Is like a $10,000 or $20,000 commercial shoot that we won. So it's just like, it's so fun. It's a long game thing. It feels like my retirement gig when Magic Kids sells and I get to write stories and play Chi-Ball.
And what's so different about the actual ball, right? Like what's different from a volleyball, for example?
I mean, this thing it's compostable, it's biodegradable, it's a hand woven wicker ball. And when they get worked in, they're super spring loaded. They sound amazing. You're not hitting a piece of rubber or plastic around. You're hitting this beautiful grass woven ball, and it's just amazing. It's a work of art, really. I don't know where it went. I think it rolled on the floor or something. But anyways, they're works of art.
It's sentient.
Yeah. And every ball has its own personality. And there's just something. The world is so complex right now. There's so much complexity. People are so stressed and so overwhelmed. It's a highly competitive world. And with Chi-Ball, there's 3 simple rules. Rule 1, keep it up. So a lot of the rallies are with your hands, but people use any parts of their body to keep the ball up. Rule 2, don't say sorry. And there's an optional push-up if you say sorry. Rule 3 is have fun. And so you could play in twos and pairs, and it's so fast. It's like an aerobics class. 30 minutes of Chi-Balling is like an aerobics class. You're just like, you're playing, and it's great. You could play in big circles. We have like party circles of 25 plus people standing in a circle, rallying the ball around. And it's just like, what it does is it brings people together. And because it's non-competitive, we're all collaborating for the same purpose, which is it's symbolic for like what the world needs right now. And we have people from all walks of life. You'll have people that are clearly rich, and we'll have people that are clearly homeless playing in the same circle, keeping the ball in the air. People from all walks of life, people from all political belief systems playing and keeping the ball in the air. And one of the taglines is make friends with strangers. And the other is play Chi-Ball anywhere. Every Chi-Ball comes with a carabiner on it, so you can wear it on your belt loop or your backpack, and you take a ball everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, people look at the ball. What's with the ball? And it's a way for other Chi-Ballers to recognize a Chi-Baller out in the world. And we spark up rallies in our community all the time. Like Chi-Ball is now becoming a thing where we live, where everywhere you go, there's probably a Chi-Ball that is going to be present, and rallies can happen. And instead of sitting around on your phone, people can play. And what the world needs is like laughter and joy and play and collaboration and, just keeping that ball in the air. If we all did that, if we approached life with like, my job is to keep it up, whatever my role is, keep it up, like follow through, do the thing that I'm here to do. And if I drop the ball and I screw up, don't say sorry. Just do better. Just like pick up the ball and keep going.
Don't say sorry. Isn't that anti-Canadian?
That's right. This is a part of our cultural healing. It's so funny because it used to just be one rule, but then everybody started apologizing. We're like, man, we got to just make a don't say sorry rule. And then people kept saying sorry. Like, okay, now there's an optional push-up if you do say sorry. And it's hilarious. Like most people do the push-up.
I guess
for her first time, she must have done at least 10 push-ups while playing.
Yeah, and like sorry, I think sometimes sorry is warranted. Like if I'm late to a meeting or something, but sometimes it's like unwarranted, right? It's like, why are you saying sorry? You're learning this sport. It's normal that you make errors, and you're making everyone uncomfortable every time you say sorry.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's almost like a nervous tick. I'm very sensitive now after years of playing. Is like I hear people saying sorry all the time, and I would say 70-80+% of the times I hear people saying sorry, it's completely necessary. One thing is like I think people shrink themselves, and so they try to stay small. It's like, oh, sorry, I'm not trying to take up any space here. Other people, it's just like there's this deep subconscious shame that they feel. and so they feel the need to say sorry, even if it's completely and totally unnecessary. It's very strange. It becomes so hyper focused. I try not to say sorry anymore unless it's really, really necessary that I need to say sorry. And it feels liberating to like try to find other ways to navigate uncomfortable situations without apologizing.
Right. Love that.
Become a
Well,
thought
Bradley,
experiment for me.
yeah, I love it. Bradley, thanks for being on today. Where can people find out more about you?
Majikmedia.com, MAJIK media.com, and then you can find all my other platforms and sites and work that I do over there, and feel free to reach out if you heard this podcast and you want to connect. I'd happily send you over a 15-minute link to just chat.
That was Bradley and Charles for